Hey guys, this is Books Nelson from the At Me Bro Show coming at you via Operation Sports, and today's subject is what you get when you finish the Sim Spotlights. And by what you get, I mean specifically the best team you can assemble with only Sim Spotlights, and where does that leave you? So 2K recently has been hinting that you need this James Harden card for some secret reason, for some big deal. And they also upgraded the card with Hall of Fame Quick Draw, in addition to everything else he has. So we're going to go from the top to the bottom here, go over the best cards to the not as great cards, and we're going to also talk about the cards that didn't make it. So first things first, we'll go right to James Harden. I actually think James Harden is fantastic. I've played this card in several matches online, both against randoms online as well as matching up with my friends and triple threat online, and the card is just fantastic. Honestly, aside from the fact that he's 6'5", I don't know if I have a criticism for the card. I'll say there's one thing, and it's a small thing considering James Harden. His normal step back, where you hold right trigger and you press back on the right stick, down on the right stick on absolute controls, is not the best. However, he also has a signature step back that's fantastic, so you just basically replace it with that one. He's absolutely phenomenal, and I don't know if he's worth the massive grind. That's for you guys to decide, but I will say he is a very, very good competitive point guard in this game. I mean, I would say maybe outside of Oscar Robinson, I have to play with Oscar Robinson myself. I would probably put him ahead of all of the other 6'5" guards, particularly because his interior strength. You can take a quick look at that right now. You can see he has basically 99s and everything. This card is so juiced. He's actually a really good rebounder too. But we can see here, where are we at with the strength? There we go, 79 strength, which is way above average, and he's just fairly stout in the post. You see the 82 interior defense. He's definitely just able to hold his own there on the inside. And the important thing is, if someone comes against you with a very big point guard, James Harden can guard every two guard in the game. Right? He can hold his own against every two guard in the game. So you can just switch your lineups around, put your 3 on their Giannis, and put your 2 on their 3, and put James on their 2, and you're good to go. You can actually play this card in pretty much any situation. With the Hall of Fame Quick Draw, he's even faster on the peekaboo, stop and pop type shots. The moving hezzy, he's just a phenomenal card. Okay, that's enough about James. Cam Reddish, another excellent card. Elite athleticism, 6'8", again, allows you to switch in every situation. Just a fantastic card. Great shooter. From an animation standpoint, I would say he's above average. I don't think he's excellent from an animation standpoint, but he's very, very, very good. I actually like Cam less than I like Kevin Porter, but we'll get to Kevin Porter. But I would say if I was recommending a card, I'd recommend Cam first. Kevin Porter would probably be my second choice. Brandon Ingram. So starting at the 3, either of these guys can start at the 3 for you. Brandon Ingram is basically a poor man's Kevin Durant in this game. A very good card. The only thing about this card that I don't like is his jump shot is slow, and he does not have, I guess there's two things I don't like. He just doesn't have the stats to play at the 4 at all at 6'9". He's a one position card. Even though technically he can play 2 positions, that 65 strength, there are too many 4s, versatile 4s, really tall 4s. He's just not going to get it done on that end. That having been said, at the 3, this card's very, very good. Just a little slow on the jump shot. Not terribly slow. Pascal Siakam, this guy's been a great card since, I won't say day 1, but when they came out with that Moments card, or I think the 83 ball, that card was fantastic. This card's really good as well. I'm not going to say he's an excellent card at the 4. I actually think as the 4s are increasing in height, this is a card you want to more move to the 3. That having been said, this is a fantastic role-playing card. He's going to defend for you. He's going to knock down shots. And in a pinch, he has enough ball handling to get a move or 2. He's not a primary playmaker. He's no T-Mac. He's no Kevin Durant. But he can definitely cook a little bit, and he should also be really, really good in triple threat online because of his height, because of his versatility. He's really good there. So, and then we have Jackson Hayes. So Jackson Hayes is really an expression of what's the weakest part of the spotlights, and that's the center position. There's no one in the spotlights that I would consider a good center. in NBA 2K. So all of these guys are only here because they are in the spotlights, but quite frankly, I would probably take Marvin Bagley and Harry Giles and a bunch of other decent budget centers. Definitely Dino Rajas. You could put all of these centers together and they're not as good as Dino Raja. So these guys just don't measure up, and I think even some budget cards, they're not holding their own. So I don't think they're terrible cards, but they're all backups at best. If I was recommending a lineup, I would definitely recommend you upgrade at center from whatever you got from the spotlights. Alright, Malcolm Brogdon. This card can shoot the lights out. He's a fantastic shooter. 6'5" point guard. And look, you see those shot ratings is almost all the way juiced up. He's got great speed at a 93 with coaching boost. That's going to be a 97. Sorry, I'm not a math major. I'm an art major. And lateral quickness is a 94. So again, and if you run a defensive coach, that's going to go to almost 99. And then with defensive specialists and all of that, what is it? Defensive leader. That's going to buff that way up there. And you see the Hall of Fame quick draw, Hall of Fame range extender, that combo right there. And you know what? Having him in your lineup at 6'5", depending on who you're playing against, you might get some lineup versatility and be able to throw him at the 2, depending on what else you're running. I think this card is one of actually the I don't want to say hidden gems. A few people know about this card, but he's not as talked about as the big ones, being like James and Cam Reddish and Robert Covington. And people are catching on to Kevin Porter as well. But I do think this Malcolm Brogdon is actually really special, and you can run him as your backup point guard and be fine. So I like that card a lot. Kevin Porter. This card, if I had to take a card and say, here are the best dribble animations in the game, he literally has almost every single fantastic dribble animation in the game. And I may go in and show that to some of you guys just to show you exactly what I mean. Show you some of the highlights of these cards. But for now, let's just say this Kevin Porter, his one flaw is, so it says he's 6'6", and I took a deep look into it, and apparently his body model is 6'6", but with his hair, he just looks a lot bigger, and his frame also looks bigger. He looks bigger than 6'6". I don't know if that actually affects anything in the game, or if it's maybe his wingspan that's adding to the illusion of it, because his feet are at the size of the same place that a 6'6" person's feet would be at if they both like shoot a jumper and stand there. Nothing changes. His shoulders don't change or anything like that, but he just feels bigger. And he, again, some of the best animations in the game, and he's got Hall of Fame range extender. And he only has gold quick draw. I would normally call that a bit of a weakness, but on him, his shot is actually really smooth and really nice. He doesn't need Hall of Fame quick draw to get his shot off of a peekaboo situation. The only thing this card would need to be like truly elite would be if he had Intimidator. If he had Intimidator, it's a GG. Brandon Clark is just here for positioning. It's not that he's a bad card. He's a solid card, good dunker, really good shooter. But and you see I have Rui Hachimura here. You could easily swap these guys out. And except for one more card I'm going to look at, that is really the case for the rest of these cards here. So I think overall, the spotlights are about 9 deep, right? I would say they're about 9 deep. After the top 9, you're starting to talk about, should you go ahead and spend MT? But so Rui Hachimura is very, very good. Great shooter, great dunker, nice size character model. He's not really a dribbler, and let's look at his defensive badges real quick, see what he's bringing to the table. He's got Hall of Fame clamps on a 6'8" card, which is excellent. He's got that gold intimidator. So, and let's look at the strength rating. So you see the 88 3-point shot. He's not an elite 3-point shooter, but that's more than enough to make shots on a regular basis. He has a very respectable 84 strength to play at the 3 guard. So I think this Rui Hachimura, he's another one. He's more of a cone. He's just going to catch and shoot, play some defense, similar to this guy right here, Robert Covington. But he's going to excel in that role, and I think he's up there with some of the better cards in that cone role. Robert Covington, all-time cone Hall of Fame. I mean, this guy's 6'9", just going to defend. He's made as a defensive character. Now, this is just my crackpot theory. I think the same way that natural dunkers in this game get those great dunk animations that even if they have a Ruby card, they still just will dunk amazingly. This guy, I think defensive characters get the same thing. And Robert Covington is a defensive character, and he's just going to get you those extra animations. You see here, he has every fantastic defensive badge on Hall of Fame or Gold. He's got post lockdown, so he can actually play a little bigger than he is. I've seen him used in competitive gameplay, and he's got that quick draw and range extender. And you can see here, shot ratings are off the charts. After this, these guys are more just filling out the rotation. These are not bad cards, but they're also not fantastic cards. The one I would like to highlight is Will Barton here. I actually think this Will Barton is pretty slick. His shot's a little too slow to pull up at the elite level on the perimeter, but he's such a fantastic attacker and slasher off the dribble, and he does have range extender. It's not like he doesn't have it. So he doesn't have an abysmal kind of how do you shoot with him kind of shot. He's just not going to be creative off the dribble like a lot of the elite guards are going to be, like your Tyler Hero and Brandon Roy and obviously Dwayne Wade, or even this James Harden, Kevin Porter, Cam Reddish. Those guys are going to be better at it than Will Barton, which is why he's at the end of the lineup. But I do think this card is worth a look if you have him in your rotation, because I feel like some people might find that he works well with their playing style. JaVale McGee, long story short, 7 feet tall, and he can shoot a little bit. Same thing with Jackson Hayes, 7 feet tall, he can shoot a little bit. Brandon Clark is basically a lesser version of Rui, and yeah, I would say of Rui. You know, it's very close. If someone said they liked Brandon Clark more than Rui, I'd say fine. That's sure. I'm sure you have a good reason for it. They're very close cards. Pick whoever you like. Neither of them has any outstanding animations that's going to push them over the top. So there's that. And Christian Wood, same thing. He's 6'10", and he can shoot. That's basically it. Right, 6'10", he's got an 88 3 ball. And I don't think he has range extender, if I recall correctly. He's got clamps, which is excellent because he can really play the 4 with that clamps. And yeah, he's just got the gold quick draw, so no range extender. I'm not sure if any of these bigs have range extender. Now, that having been said, there are some decent cards that are not in here, and I'm going to go and highlight them real quick. So let's go ahead, go to the collection, go to the rewards, sim, complete, love seeing it. Alright, so first up and foremost is this PJ Washington. The only reason PJ Washington isn't in that group is because he's undersized. He can't play the 3, and these days the 4 is getting taller and taller and taller, and I feel like there are just some lineups that if you were planning on running PJ Washington at the 4, you would look at that lineup and have to kind of turn around and say, ooh, not today. Up, I'm going to run through all of the cards that are not in and just give a brief description as to why. Fred VanVleet, undersized. That's it at the end of the day. Joe Harris, not the most mobile card in the game. Not great dunk packages and kind of a funky jump shot. Terrence Ross, no clamps. Real sad because this card would have been fantastic, but he has no clamps, so he's just not going to be able to defend. Mitchell Robinson literally can't shoot, like at all. Even Amethyst Shaquille O'Neal can hit a mid-range shot. Mitchell Robinson is the struggle bus. Duncan Robinson. I actually kind of like this Duncan Robinson. He's got a little bit of a weird shot, but he is a 6'8" 2 guard, which is very rare. He just doesn't quite have the athleticism to hold up to it. Cam Reddish has a 95 speed. You see this Duncan Robinson has an 84 speed, which is not cutting it. Let me make sure I have that number right. Was it 95 or 93 or something? 95. Cam Reddish has a 95 speed. Fantastic. Daniel Theis. He actually has a really good jumper, but again, he's just undersized at 6'8". So he can't roll. Lauri Markkanen. This is the worst spotlight card in the whole bunch. This card is absolutely terrible. I joke about the Bulls a lot to torture my good friend Brian Mazik and really everybody from Chicago because that makes me feel warm inside. But they did Chicago dirty by choosing this card and putting it in here and having it be this terrible. Even if you're the biggest Chicago fan in the world, it is an utter waste of your time to get this Lauri Markkanen. He's so bad. Alright, Rui was on the team. Eric Bledsoe. I could have put Eric Bledsoe on there. And even though he is undersized, Eric Bledsoe has fantastic statistics really everywhere. But he's 6'1", and playing a 6'1" point guard is just rough out in those streets these days. That having been said, Eric Bledsoe's actually a monster. And if you can make small point guard, like really small point guards work, right? These days the small point guard is really 6'3". He's 6'1". He's truly undersized, but he has a lot of defensive badges, a lot of Hall of Fame badges all over the place. See that Hall of Fame intimidator. So I would say before I would cross him out entirely, some small cards play much bigger than they're supposed to, and this guy has the tools to do it. Again, I'm not recommending it, but I'm saying if you're doing the entire spotlights, give him a try and see how you like him. Matisse is actually a really good card. He just doesn't have range extender, and I think the wing position is the worst position to not have range extender. I think there's defensive point guards you can get away with it. You don't need it on your centers, but the 2, the 3, and the 4, I much prefer to have range extender on those positions. If you feel differently, you could try this card out because he's an excellent defender, great dunker, but that's a struggle right there. And he's only 6'6", so there's not like a big size thing. Let's see, Marquis Kris, he could have made the team. He's one that definitely could have been on there. You could switch him out for Christian Wood if you want. Just not special in any way, just a generally solid card. Gary Trent, he's like a poor, in my opinion, he's a poor man's Will. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. What's his name? Will Barton. He's a poor man's Will Barton, so he doesn't make the cut. He just doesn't quite have the animations, and he's a little on the smaller side. Malik Beasley, 6'5", 2 guard, which I'm not in the market for, but I think he's a solid card. He actually has a really nice shot. Solid animations, not fantastic, but he's definitely a playable card. And if you wanted to throw him in there as the 13th man, I wouldn't be mad at you. Ty Jerome, he's a 6'6" guard, which is so tempting. And I would say, if you're going to run a 6'6" guard at the point guard, maybe you'd be interested in him. But my thing is, most of the 6'6" archetype guards have, like, in Hall of Fame Intimidator or Hall of Fame Clamps or something like that. He's not actually an elite defender. So he's just kind of a slasher. You know, he's only got an 86 3 ball. And you see he has a 92 speed, so he's kind of in a weird no man's land where he's not super great at anything. Murray, this is probably my second least favorite card in this entire set. I just don't think I was so disappointed in his animations. He's so not strong. Steven Adams. Now I'm gonna tell you guys straight up, if this was my personal team, Steven Adams would definitely be on it. He has a makeable corner 3 and a fairly easy to green jumper, and he should be really stout defensively. Now, I haven't played with this card against competition, so I can't speak for what kind of defensive animations he gets, but I am going to try to make Steven Adams work, and I will have an Oklahoma City Thunder team with Steven Adams on it because he is probably my favorite big in the game. I just really like the way he plays and the way he's developed as a player. Let's see. DeLon Wright, he's just small. You know, just can't cut it, just small. JaVale McGee, I think he was on the team. Like I said, he's 7 feet tall, he can kind of shoot. Bogdanovich and Joe Ingles. Both of these guys are kind of in the same place where it's like they're not super athletic, they're good shooters, and that's about it. The problem is the athletic guys are also elite shooters, like Cam and Kevin Porter, and all of those guys are great shooters, so there's no reason to play these guys who don't do other things as well as those guys. And in the case of, you know, some of those guys, they're also great defenders. Brandon Clark, he could have also definitely been on the team. I think we discussed him. Like, he's basically Rui. If you might like him more than you like Rui. I like Rui more than I like him, but there's not really a great reason to say so. They're both gonna just stand around, hit shots, and defend a little bit. And then Lou Williams, he's got no clamps and he's a 6'2" 2 guard. So that's kind of the end of the story with him. So that is generally what you get. Oh, we got a weekly reward. Nice little bonus for me. That's generally what you get with the spotlights. Is it worth grinding for? We're going to find out if it's worth grinding for shortly. But I will say there are a bunch of good playable cards in that collection. And out of all of those cards, I think about 6 can be in your main lineup, either starting or coming off the bench. Some people are starting Cam. You know, if you didn't shell out for Tracy McGrady, Cam is kind of as good as anybody to take up that position. And as a backup 2 guard, Kevin Porter is as good as anybody. Again, he has some of the best animations in the game. And I just wanted to show you guys a few things with Cam and James Harden to maybe get your imaginations going about how to use these cards and give you a little shorthand for what I consider to be really great animations. And both of these guys have some really great animations. So James is up first, so we'll discuss James. James has a unique size up, which is really interesting. But the main thing with James, he has a lot of good dribbles. We're not going to get into all of them now, but you know, he's got great hesitation that allows him to change sides. He's got the kind of Steph Curry between the legs teleport thing, and he's got a fantastic running behind the back. So he's all aces in that department. But the main thing with James is his step back is crazy, and he can launch out of it whenever he wants, and he's really glitchy with it, and he can combo into it and out of it and really just hop around the court however he wants to. You see there, he kind of teleports with it. So James really is kind of a monster, and I've done that to people on Triple Threat and they have no idea what's happening. So James, for that reason, is going to be a really fun Triple Threat card, and I highly suggest that if you go and you know, invest in the time to get this James Harden card and go through the spotlights and all of that stuff, really invest in his skill set, because he's one of the more unique cards in the game with a ton of signature animations. And now I just want to go over Kevin Porter Jr., because there's a bit of a debate as to whether it's him or Cam Reddish who's better. They're both great cards. I do think it's a personal preference thing, but the thing about Kevin Porter is he literally has almost every elite dribble animation in the game. So first and foremost, he has an elite step back, the park step back. He also has the elite hesitation. He also has the elite size up with the between the legs, so he can kill a crossover. He also can do the behind the back teleport. So and you look at his what is it, his running behind the back. Sorry, didn't do it. Let's do it one more time. Cam won't stop dribbling. I mean, Kevin won't stop. There we go. So his running behind the back is also elite, just a top-notch running behind the back. And the only dribble that he doesn't have at the very, very highest level is his between the legs, which is not even a bad between the legs dribble. It's just not the best between the legs dribble. So you see he launches really fast out of his quick first step, has excellent dunk animations. Cannot recommend this card enough. He's just absolutely phenomenal. And whatever, if you're a dribbler, you might like Kevin Porter more than you like Cam. Not that Cam's a bad dribbler, but Kevin Porter's like literally a special dribbler. Like, he literally is just like a park character. He has all of the custom park sigs at his disposal. Alright guys, so hopefully this video was informative for you, letting you know all that you get when you get the spotlight, the best cards you get, the best possible lineup you could run. And if you did the spotlights and you have a little MT left over from beating all of those games, what position you want to upgrade first and foremost. That's your call, but my suggestion would be shell out for an elite center. Dino Raja is the cheapest elite center in the game, and he is absolutely elite, but Taco Fall has come way down in price. There's a couple of other really good centers out there that you can get from between 100 and 200 KMT that can really, really shore up your lineup. Even if you had all spotlights, all of the other positions are mostly covered. I would also say you might want to look at a tall 4, because the spotlights don't have great tall 4s, but positions 1, 2, and 3, there's some really nice cards in these spotlights, and I hope this video helps show you what direction you want to look if you do make that grind, or if you're on the fence about whether or not you want to do it. Alright guys, thanks so much. This is Books Nelson once again coming at you via Operation Sports from the At Me Bro Show. Please like and subscribe both to this channel and to my own. I'll see you all in the next one, and peace.